I'm 89.3. Ryan, have you thought about funeral businesses?
Well, sometimes, as you imagine, but of course, it's a very niche business, and it's not something everyone thinks about every day. But on the topic of sustainability, I think everyone is trying to jump on this bandwagon.
Yes, and now we have a local pet cremation business that's going that way too.
It's called the Green Mortician.
Mhm.
So you might be wondering, how do you actually become more sustainable on this front? So this is a pet cremation business. So you
Mhm.
might be wondering, what do you do with your pets after they pass on? You shouldn't flush them down the toilet, but sometimes you cremate them, and this is like how you cremate most people, which is through the machinery using heat and fire. But
Mhm.
here they are coming up with something different.
Using water instead of fire for the cremation process itself. And it's called aquamation, the process, which mimics the natural decomposition process of a body when it's exposed to soil.
Yep.
Hmm.
So this actually uses about 90% less energy than fire cremation. And also, it doesn't release those harmful greenhouse gas emissions like you imagine.
So, for a better explanation of all this, we have Young Lu, co founder of the Green Mortician, with us this morning. Very good morning to you, Young Lu.
Hi, morning, everyone.
Okay, we hear that you were formerly a renewable energy consultant. So, what gave you the idea of setting up this business, this eco friendly pet cremation business?
I think the whole idea that interests me is the circular economy and the zero waste that you can come about, when you start a business or anything like that. But more importantly, actually, this whole idea actually came about because we didn't really like the whole idea how funerals sometimes are very depressing, and in a way, we try to remove all the little pain points
Mhm.
in that through our process, products, or even the place itself.
Young Lu, let's take it back. Do you have any pets? Is this what spurred you to think further?
Yeah. I think I had my own experience as well, losing a pet, right? It was a difficult time. A lot of things, in a way, the whole cremation process didn't help with that either, because I'm quite visual, and
Mm.
you know,
Was it
so
a
I
cat or a dog?
imagine and
Or
think about the process. It was a dog.
yeah, I can imagine it can be quite painful losing your pet because sometimes they are quite close to you and become part of your family. So let's talk about the process. This
Yeah.
aquamation process, so it involves using heated water and alkaline chemicals. Typically, you find this in cosmetics or
Cosmetics. Mhm.
soaps. How does this actually work, Yangdu?
I think in layman terms, how it works is similar to the reductive process of decomposition. Many factors come into play: heat, moisture, and also alkalinity. So, in a controlled environment, we're able to get that done within a day instead of years. So, heat, alkali, and flowing water, and
Help us to
also
visualize the process. What are we
mhm.
looking at? Are we putting it in a box? How big is the box? Where does it go?
Mhm.
So it's a stainless steel vessel that holds the pets inside. Heat is added, water is added, alkali is added, and then to our advantage, we use flow of water as well. So that's all is
Okay.
inside the system.
And in terms of time, what are we looking at?
Within a day, we actually reduce the body to just bone remains.
Go
So
ahead.
similar to decomposition, um, what's left at the end is actually fertile soil. For us, it's
Mhm.
actually fertile liquid. So yeah, it is quite similar to decomposition.
So, talk us through the process and help us understand how is all of that more sustainable than other forms of cremation?
Yeah, I think Ryan mentioned just now as well. We use up 90% less energy.
Mhm.
There are no harmful emissions that come out. When you talk about flame-based cremations, there's a lot of energy that's used. There's
Mhm.
a study done. It's similar to use it, going for a road trip, 800-kilometer road trip per cremation done. So unlike that, we don't use that much energy, and also there's not much emissions that come out from the process.
All right, we're in conversation with Yang Lu. He's the co-founder of a business called the Green Mortician. Now, it does make sense, Yang Lu, that this is greener and it helps the environment. So, how is the take up right now? And of course, as a business, how are you running it?
Yeah, I think the people have been receiving it very well. More so towards two things, right? Sustainability and how they can leave the world a better place, and also the psychological aspect. Not many people, like I mentioned, like myself, can deal with the idea of a fire. the association of fire being, led to pain, flames, heat. It's a very difficult process to picture in your mind when the time happens, right?
Yeah, let's dive into numbers. So, as a business, what does it involve you know, setting up the business with the equipment? How much does it cost? And of course, per cremation, aquamation, how much would it cost versus the usual way?
Definitely the equipment would cost more than that of a flame-based equipment. But in terms of costing to consumers as well, we try to make it as accessible as possible. But we're looking at the long road, the journey ahead. We're not trying to go through the short-term gains and everything like that. It's more important for us to also get the kind of accessibility and data to try to push this forward for humans as well.
So you mentioned equipment. What kind of technology are we talking about?
Yeah, so the whole system is actually designed and built by an engineer based in US. So that equipment itself that does all the processing from the bodies to get the people, the bones and the ash remains. That's the equipment that we're talking about. That costs about 200,000 USD.
So, as a business, how do you scale up on that front? Is it just a matter of getting more boxes and then filling up more liquid, or do you have some challenges scaling up?
I think there's no challenges in that sense in terms of, although we run the process once a day, it's a 24-hour process. We try to eco-consciously try to have as many pets inside as and when possible. So
Okay.
we are able to cremate quite a number of pets.
How much are we looking at when it comes to aquamation?
So aquamation is anywhere within the range of 500 to 900, depending on the size of the pet, of course.
So has this eco-friendly option been popular so far? How has it been received among pet owners?
I think people are glad that they actually have an option now because we've been limited to flame-based cremations. The community is very happy to have an added option to choose from. Of course, it depends on the families and their opinions behind this and what's best for them and their pet as well. But ultimately, now at least we have an extra option for them.
Yeah, as a business, I'm wondering as well, this is so new, it's a new concept. There's a level of bit of a learning curve and education and awareness as well. How do you ramp up the business? How do you reach out to new business leads? What are you doing on that front? Are you advertising on Facebook, etc.?
No, not so much. I think it's more of that we hold introductions and tours into our facility where we actually bring people around to actually further explain the whole process. I think this in-person approach is quite good because people can see how genuine we are as well, and how the process is like.
And this is in Jurong.
Yeah, this is in Jurong.
Yang Lu, clearly it's still in early days here, but what's your assessment of whether aquamation can eventually be, extended to humans here in Singapore in the future? And if so, what kind of time frame could we be looking at?
I say it took us 3 years to get to where we are today. We don't really quite know. It's something very new. Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. When will it be extended to humans? I say ultimately it's dependent on the community and the people in Singapore and their voice as well. It's very important for this to be pushed forward. When it comes to whether it's viable as an alternative in Singapore, I think it's far superior than in my opinion, far superior than fire-based cremations because of that huge significant savings in energy and how we are limited to, it's land scarce in Singapore and we're limited to burial spaces that we have here. So yeah, I think this will be a future alternative.
All right, we've been chatting with Yang Lu. He is the co-founder of the Green Mortician, which specializes in water cremation of your pets who have passed on instead of the fire cremation approach. So that's a very interesting business to get into. Yang Lu, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Yang Lu.
Thank you.
Money FM 89.3